One of the most alarming developments in the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran is the near-total absence of serious media or expert discussion about a looming possibility. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu could soon resort to deploying nuclear weapons from Israel's clandestine arsenal in an effort to annihilate Iran's strategic infrastructure and leadership. Among the most likely targets would be Iran's nuclear development facilities, officially civilian and nature-hardened, deep underground at sites such as Natanz. In the wake of an initial Israeli offensive that reportedly killed a number of high-ranking Iranian generals and top officials, Iran's leadership is believed to have relocated to fortified subterranean bunkers. Netanyahu is widely believed to be determined to complete the decapitation of Iran's leadership, leaving the nation defenseless and stripped of its sovereign control. Amid ongoing tit-for-tat missile and drone exchanges, Israeli officials, emboldened by their early military success, have gone as far as suggesting the total destruction of Tehran, a metropolis of 18 million. Reducing the Iranian capital to rubble cannot be achieved with conventional arms. If there's any doubt that Netanyahu would consider deploying nuclear weapons, marking their first use in battle since 1945, one need only examine his long record of erratic and extreme decision-making, unmatched by any current world leader. Netanyahu is likely to justify such an apocalyptic move as a matter of national survival, but the consequences could trigger regional or even global nuclear escalation, particularly if nuclear-armed nations like Pakistan enter the fray in defense of Iran. Compounding the danger is U.S. President Donald Trump's unpredictable and often superficial grasp of geopolitical crisis. Trump has issued contradictory statements about whether he had prior knowledge of Israel's strike on Iran and whether the U.S. had a role in it. Now, he claims to be disengaged from the issue while parroting Israel's warnings for Iran to evacuate Tehran. He ominously warns that something very bad is imminent if Iran fails to comply with a series of U.S. demands, including the complete cessation of uranium enrichment, even for peaceful medically or scientifically oriented purposes under full international inspection. The hypocrisy of this situation is glaring. Israel is repeatedly portrayed as the victim despite possessing an undeclared nuclear arsenal of approximately 200 warheads and never having signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran, on the other hand, is a signatory to the NPT and regularly undergoes inspections by international agencies. Furthermore, both U.S. and Israeli intelligence have repeatedly confirmed that Iran has no active nuclear weapons program. In fact, Iran has not initiated military aggression against either Israel or the U.S., yet it is being portrayed and attacked as the aggressor. Nevertheless, Netanyahu has used the supposed threat of Iranian nuclear ambitions as a pretext for war, a narrative increasingly echoed by Trump and his administration. Prominent political commentator Paul Craig Roberts has sharply criticized Trump's enabling of Netanyahu's aggressive actions. In a recent article titled, "What Do We Do When President Trump is in the Pocket of Mass Murderer Netanyahu?" Roberts states, "Trump says he knows that Iran is very close to having nuclear weapons. How does Trump know this? Netanyahu told him. What did the U.S. intelligence community tell Trump? American intelligence informed him that Iran is not developing nuclear weapons, and that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has not resumed the nuclear weapons program he halted in 2003. But Trump dismissed this, saying, 'I do not care what she,' Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said. Trump trusts Netanyahu more. As a result, he supports Israeli aggression and has warned Iran that any response will lead to U.S. involvement aimed at destroying Iran." Escalating further, Trump has now issued a chilling threat: the elimination of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, unless Iran surrenders unconditionally. Claiming to know Khamenei's secret location, Trump boasted, "But we won't kill you yet." Roberts describes such rhetoric as characteristic of someone mentally unstable, writing, "This is the behavior of a crazy person. Trump has failed as president. He's allowed a genocidal maniac to control U.S. foreign policy. By giving Netanyahu carte blanche, Trump has pushed the U.S. to the brink of war with Iran, enabled the Palestinian genocide, and now risks a nuclear confrontation. Netanyahu has started a war Israel cannot win, and he has offloaded that war onto Trump. Congress, often seen as a dormant bystander in foreign affairs, appears to be waking up to the unfolding crisis. Legislators are now drafting emergency laws to restrict U.S. involvement in any military conflict that Trump initiates unilaterally in support of Israel. This legislation would prevent the White House from supplying weapons, funds, or political protection to Israel unless formally authorized by Congress under the War Powers Resolution of 1973. The proposed bill is spearheaded by Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, who warned, "I am deeply concerned that the recent escalation of hostilities between Israel and Iran could quickly pull the United States into another endless conflict." Still, the bill faces uphill opposition from Trump loyalists, neoconservatives, hardline nationalists, and the pro-Israel mainstream media. All of them staunchly support Israel, even when it involves mass civilian casualties. House Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana, a staunch evangelical Christian known as Bible Belt Mike, recently postponed a trip to Israel, where he was scheduled to speak before the Knesset in a show of unconditional support for Netanyahu. Once again, Paul Craig Roberts underscores the depth of Israeli influence in Washington. Israel's grip on the U.S. government makes it impossible for Washington to prioritize American interests. In the entire U.S. Congress, only one member stands independent of Israeli influence. That lone representative is Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, whom pro-Israel groups have vowed to defeat in the next election, regardless of cost. Trump, seemingly energized by the prospect of war with Iran, has even cut short his participation in a G7 summit, where his presence might have been valuable on matters of global trade. Instead, he appears eager to embrace armed conflict. If Netanyahu wants war, Trump seems all too willing to deliver it. Nuclear escalation include, provided he's asked the right way.